And also we can only understand each other because we are here in the fairy kingdom. But once we cross over back to our world, your words will be meaningless to me, as mine will be to you. So I am telling you now, my employees will pick us up before we leave the beach, and I will give you passage back to your country. Thank you, he said. You are welcome. And once you cross back into our world, you will age extremely slowly. Fine, he said. So once they made it back to our world, the leprechauns attacked. The peace treaty did not extend to our world, and with guns made of pure plastic, they now had a weapon they thought could defeat us. Over here, it jumped. Peace treaty did not exist. They now had a weapon they thought could defeat us. They opened fire, striking Sian. Sian pushed a button on her wrist wrap, and computer-guided machine guns popped up out of the sand and began targeting leprechauns. Soon her men had swarmed the beach, and the leprechauns faded. Sian was wounded but not dead, and she kept her word and helped Kamu Nunagawamimi no Mikoto adjust to the new world. Everything now is safeguarding yourself against Steele. And when she thought he was ready, she sent him back to Japan with a small stipend. You will have centuries to catch up with this world, because time now passes so slowly for us, as it does in the other world. All the people you once knew are dead, and all the people you meet now, you'll outlive, because how time passes so differently for us. Well, he soon found himself home in Japan, but not the Japan that was his any longer. His world had long since died, his home gone. We believe that the leprechauns were an early group of humans who gained access to this other world we live in. And they've survived by living in the shadows of the dragons. In comparison, if a dragon was 6 feet tall, then a 6-foot human would be about the size of a small mouse. The dragons live in cloud cities that float above the world, and they always seem to be at war with each other, with great air battles fought above us, covering the ground in fire and ash. No matter how mighty they are in this world, the tiniest knife back in our world would be enough to turn them to ash. During these sky battles, occasionally, a dragon would fall dead from the sky, and the leprechauns would feast upon it, until there was nothing left of the dragon but bone and dragon technology. That was beyond the leprechaun. The dragon technology was beyond the leprechaun's understanding. There was one bit of dragon tech, though, that they did unlock. From observing that before a dragon would transit between worlds at the water's edge, the leprechauns would hear a sound, and by striking dragon tech to a rock at the water's edge, they could get it to make that very same sound and transit them between worlds. Dragons were truly beings of two worlds, until our world discovered how to make steel. And there is something about steel that turns anything that transits between the worlds to dust. So when the dragon that the humans had slain with steel failed to return, the dragons sent a recovery team to search for the missing dragon. And they recovered the dragon tech, but not the dragon, and thus were able to see with their own eyes what had happened. So they decided that their days upon our world had ended. Dragons that had never had a weakness before suddenly had a very real weakness just prior to mass extinction. In the long ago, the dragons had discovered this transit point between the worlds and how to access it. So they moved their society, or as much of it as could be saved, to a new world. It still kept it, and yet still kept one toe in the old one. Every 1,000,000 years or so of our time, they would send a soldier through the transit to investigate the old world. Not one soldier ever returned. Until after 1,000,000 years, one did, but his technology had been corrupted by iridium, and it died soon after his return. The next time we sent someone through, the iridium was out of the atmosphere. So plans were begun for the reinvasion and reconquest of our world by the dragon race, when their newly acquired weakness in our world was discovered. One of their leaders was struck and killed, turned to dust by a knife that barely pierced the skin. And those invasion plans were put on hold. It was the first human with the... I was the first human with the gift to ever wear dragon tech around my neck, and to be able to communicate with the dragon tech, because that place in my mind that gives me the gift is the same place where the dragon tech can communicate with me.